What's good, guys? Welcome to another lead line update. Today we're going to be covering February 2022. And I would say thus far, I wonder if this is going to become like a thing with my lead line updates as far as like, oh man, got a new set of problems. I think it's a good thing. I usually, at least my perception is, look, in the talk of failing up or failing down, right? The way I see it is like, if I'm failing up and I'm getting more mistakes, that means like I'm accomplishing new mistakes and discovering new ones, right? I'm getting rid of the old mistakes and I'm discovering new ones. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's the way it is, right? You do something, you get better at it, you get over that hill, and then what happens? Oh shit, there's a whole other world there that was undiscovered. And it was only because of the things that you had just previously gone through that you were able to access that part. Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes it's just, you're just not set up right, or it's just not your time, really. So anyway, what I'm getting at here is this was a difficult topic to bring up on, especially all of February. I made a recording. It was good. I enjoyed it. But then, like, listening back, I felt that I didn't explain it correctly. And, I mean, usually I won't tell you when something is like a first take, second take, third take. This is a second take. And a few days ago, I did the first take. And the reason why is because even listening back, like, have you ever, like, just vented and you look back? I mean, many of you don't record when you vent, but most of the time after you vent, you'll just say things that you don't necessarily like. That's how you feel. It's not what you want to lead with, if that makes sense. You know, it's okay to be frustrated at work, to be frustrated with your coworkers, to be frustrated with your chef. It's okay. And after work, when you go out with your friends or whatever, you're venting with a friend online, whatever it is, you're going to vent and you're going to say things that you don't necessarily want to say to the other person because they'll take it wrong. And again, you're just venting. When it's venting, it's totally fine. It's when you start to act on those things, that's when it can get kind of fucking toxic. And that's really what that last video came off as. It was just vent. And even when I was sort of like trying to put my own spin on it, trying to give my plan, I couldn't help myself, and I kept doing what I would call like these backhanded compliments, or I'm trying to say something nice, but yet I'm still somehow putting down people. I don't like that. Again, it's one thing to vent. It's another thing. I feel that if I just vent and don't give some sort of solution, some sort of anything, then it's like, then what's the point? You're just tuning in just to hear me bitch and moan without any actual substance. On the plus side, I suppose you could say that, oh man, hey, you know what? He's just like us, right? Every fucking kitchen has its own problem. So let's get with the nitty, right? I'm going to start off with the things that I've been having trouble with, and then I'll try to move that into a more positive light. Again, February has just been challenging. January, just to give a quick recap, January, I was getting basically my mental health, just getting my mental health in order, or at least just setting myself up right for this whole year. Whether it's medication or getting professional help, I'm getting my bases covered. Previous to this position, mental health was something I never gave thought of. To me, that's something that other people go through, not me. If that makes sense, you know? And then it happened to me, and I just didn't, I didn't take it seriously. Like if I treated someone the way I was treating myself, the way I am treating myself, I wouldn't like it. No one would like it. They'd think of me as like being insensitive, or just overall insensitive. You're not taking it serious. And overall, it's not, it's not benefiting anyone. Not even myself. So I got those things in order. I feel really good about that. And then in doing so, right, taking off all that stress that was just building up, I was able to now focus on my job. And of course, like I said, I tackled one problem. I set it up right. We'll see how that goes. And in doing so, I uncovered a new set of problems, a new set of things that I would say I knew what I was getting into coming into this kitchen. But it's much different when you know something versus, okay, now it's happening to you. And not necessarily that I'm being targeted or no. I'm being so vague. That's the one thing I'm noticing. It's like I'm 6 minutes into the video and I'm being very, very vague. Again, man, it's just I've been having trouble articulating, coming with the right words without sounding like I'm pooping on people. So let me just get straight to it. I'm having a hard time adjusting to the new chef and his management style. Yeah, I think that's the most fair way I could do it. I don't need, again, my chef isn't a terrible person. My chef isn't someone that I would call toxic. He's positive. He has a great attitude. He's very passionate about drumming. Everyone likes him. And I think just like anyone, he has his strengths and weaknesses. And I'm finding that adjusting to his style is difficult. And the reason I think it's difficult is because in previous instances, whenever I've had a new sous chef, a new lead, a new chef, my immediate instinct has been to fight it. My immediate instinct has been to be petty. My immediate instinct has been to, I'm going to go against this. Somehow expecting that, well, if they just see, well, they know how good I am. So if they see that one of the best cooks is mad and blah, 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 then they have to pay attention, right? How egotistical is that? But it's fucking true. I just said that right now. It just came out of my mouth. I didn't think to say that. It just, man, the truth comes out and it's not always how you expect it. And it's very true. Sometimes I just think too much of myself. I feel like I know the way things should be. And it's not even so much me thinking what it is. Again, it's little things that I think like that I know are like it's not okay to do that. But again, it's not my kitchen. I'm in no position to be telling people what to do. I'm in no position to be telling the chef what to do. In some ways, I trust my exec chef, so I have to trust his judgment when he or the chef or the owner picked him to be the lead. Is he a bad leader? No, I don't think so. It's just it's just things that for me, you want to know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. I feel like my chef subscribes to the I don't have time mentality. I don't have time crew. My chef is the I don't have time crew. Okay. What specifically are we talking about? It drives me nuts when I go in there and nothing has been swept. Trash has not been taken out. Recycling is just piled up in the back. The floors are dirty. And it's just not, for me, it's not an ideal way to start a shift. It stresses me out. And I think for the longest time coming in here, one of the things me stressing out was like how I would frame things, right? I'd frame things in terms of like, I have to go clean up after him. Why is this guy in charge if he can't do the most fundamental thing, which is keeping a kitchen clean? Again, that's for me. For me, that's like baseline, right? You remove the tape, you work together as a team. Like, I want to hear communication between cooks, and you clean up, There was an instance earlier this month. I don't know if it was this month or in January, and I don't know if I had mentioned this before, but one of the morning people, they covered a shift at night, and they were working there. And when it was time to leave, that person really just stopped what she was doing. I mean, as soon as we got the all in, she was there cutting, doing prep. As soon as we got the all in, she stopped what she was doing. She put away her prep. Whatever she was prepping, she quartered it up, put it away, left the station as is, and was really on her way out to the door. I'm thinking like, whoa. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Are you not going to close the station down? And she's like, oh, I didn't know we do that. We have to do that? I'm like, yeah. You gotta flip, you gotta clean, you gotta restock, you gotta You got to clean the fryers. You got to turn off the ovens. There's a whole closing procedure. But the thing is, me looking back, it's like, again, I want you to remember that things is a trickle down effect, not a trickle up effect. Right? I can sit here and you can give the best example. You could be the best employee. But again, if you don't have the support of the higher ups, of your lead, of your sous chef, the next person above you doesn't support you, then almost what you do is a little bit pointless. Not completely pointless, but let me bring it back to this employee. I wasn't mad at her. The way my immediate perception of it is, this is a clear representation of there's a reason why she thought it was okay. No, like, I've never seen one kitchen where cooks can just leave. Every kitchen I've been in, there's some sort of after service or some sort of like switch over clean. And then so I was already dealing with things like, oh, there's just no time, or oh, Soy, you should come and work in the morning so you could actually see that there really isn't time to clean up. That one rubbed me the wrong way a lot. I felt personally insulted because I have worked mornings within the company at 2 different restaurants. And both of those restaurants, Saturday and Sunday, slammed for the mornings. We'd have brunches. I'm talking like numbers like 300, 350s, 400s, big boy numbers. And, in these kitchens, not only were we expected to like set up, you come in, you set up station. You go in, you start, like the sous chef comes in with at least 5 items that you need to prep for the day. And you got to complete those things. Then aside from that, you're going to be working service. Then aside from service, at some point before you leave, usually we call it 2 o'clock cleanup because at 3 p.m. is when the shift does the switch. 2 o'clock cleanup or an hour before, when you get a chance, you need to start taking out trashes. In some instances, you need to like hose down the inside of the trash bins because they get dirty. You take out recycling. You break down the boxes. You don't just throw shit into the box because then it gets fucking full. There was a day where I was taking out recycling. That recycling bin was just all the way to the top, but none of the boxes were broken down. As soon as I broke down all the boxes, I took time. I broke down the boxes, and guess what? Plenty of more room for more recycling to go in. I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion that perhaps the type of chef I have, again, everyone is different, right? You have your chefs that are there for the paycheck. You have your chefs you have cooks that are there because that's just what they do. That's what they're good at. They have no desire of moving up, but they're just really good cooks. You have people like me who just like, I'm always trying to be better. I'm trying to be better, and I want people next to me to be better. And sometimes it feels like it's few and far between, because there's a difference between someone that like goes there for a check and he does good job because he wants to keep the job and he wants to just maintain his value with it. And then there's people like me and a few others where we want to maintain our value, but we also want to move up, right? So that's, it's one of the reasons why I have this YouTube channel, is to reach out those cooks that, if you're interested, if you're thinking about it, right? Hey, you got to start. And so I'm thinking, like, again, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. Like, maybe it's just too much, right? Like in the mornings, they're doing like 350s, 400s. Maybe he just doesn't know how to delegate those sort of tasks out. And he really just sees it as like, dude, we just got to get these tickets out. This is insane. I can't do it. My chef, when I was doing these morning shifts, there was no excuse. It didn't matter. The only thing you could get away with would be maybe you didn't have to finish like one project because you just didn't have time. See, that's fair, because you know what? That one project can be shifted over to the PM, But as far as like, oh, there wasn't time to clean, so PM's going to take care of it, it's one way to build resentment. It's one way to make one shift feel a type of way. So So February, more or less, has been me, dealing with these differences firsthand, right? And again, on one hand, it's like saying, imagine if like I'm here talking about people that don't take off the tape, that don't communicate, that don't blah blah blah, like all the things that I don't like about a cook. Now imagine you put that, and then you put that on someone who you actually like, who's actually nice, who's it's difficult. Have you guys ever had like a buddy online where you'll go in and maybe there's like a dirty station or maybe something wasn't taken out and you're like, who the fuck did this? And then it's your buddy that's like, oh man, it was me. I forgot to do that, or sorry, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh yeah, it's totally cool. It's totally cool. But you know that if it would have been someone else, you would have been on their ass. But because it's your buddy, it's like they get that pass. It's sort of like that. Like on one hand, I'm just like, there's no time. Like those are the words I really hate the most. There's no time. And then, and it's just the leadership style, I would say, is a little more on the relaxed side, right? And so I've learned, I know from my last sous chef, I went against him, and there were days where he would leave, he'd say bye to everyone, and him and I just wouldn't say bye to each other because I know that he didn't do anything. It was just me. It's all me. It's my perception of things, and identifying that, if you go back to my earlier videos, I had the same issues with a previous sous chef. I had problems with the last sous chef that I had, so that's 2 sous chefs. Then there was one chef who moved up, and I felt that he's just so young, he lacked leadership courage. Again, there's a reason why they pick these people to be sous chefs, to be chefs, and not everyone is going to be this full package. Not everyone is going to be this final piece of work, I think about the people that inspire me, chefs that I'm like, that's a fucking guy. And you know what they all have in common? It just clicked right now. All of them have been doing that position for years. So why am I giving shit to like some 24-year-old kid who just became chef at one of the top restaurants ever, and more or less the kitchen just does whatever the fuck they want? I know that sounds really terrible, and I'm sure if you watch, he's like, wow, that's kind of a dick thing to say. But to his defense, it's like, well, when were you ever in a position where you had to do this? When were you in a position where you had to? If anything, and this is something that I kind of used to be empathetic towards him, is, dude, growing pains, we're all learning with you. For better, for worse, I'm part of the learning experience. He's going to have to make the mistakes with me, just like when I make the mistakes with my crew. I mean, I'm sure there's things that I already know that there's a lot of them that feel like maybe I don't do enough, or I'm not assertive enough, or I would say that for the most part, everyone respects me. I think for the most part, everyone likes me. I think the new thing that I'm getting used to is now being in a management position. Now when people change topics a little bit when I walk in, or when people tell me that someone made a comment about them not caring, it's like, well, I don't give a shit what he says, And it's funny because it's like they'll say that, but then they'll be like super nice to me. I can't take it personal, and it's so hard, The more you move up, you're going to encounter these people with actual authority and some sort of power, and not everyone is going to be what you would want to be in a manager, in a leadership role. It's not always going to be like that. And so February has been, I identified that this chef is just not my style. Like, it just doesn't, right? So then the next step was, okay, is this bad enough that I should leave? No, absolutely not. It is not. Like, that good outweighs the bad. Okay, so they don't clean and they don't do anything, and he says that there's no time, which I know the cooks, no one is buying that excuse. But it's his kitchen, and it's not whether you buy it or not, because he's not selling it, he's telling you. Okay, so you know what? I reframed it. Instead of me coming into work to clean up after them, I just go to work, I say hi to everyone, and get to cleaning. It's just what I do. I make sure that everything is done well. I make sure that when I check in with everyone, I ask them, hey, do you need anything for your station? The cooks will definitely say, hey, AM didn't do shit. Hey, look at the way AM leaves my fucking things, blah, blah, blah. But I'm passing along that information that I'm passing along to you is, look, the reason I'm not trying to stress out over it, and the reason why I'm really not, that's kind of my attitude is because it's not my kitchen. It's not my place to say what things should or should not be like. I've done a lot of things in this kitchen already, and it's very clear that there's no support for that. It's one of those like, well, you can do it this way, and that it's up to you if that's going to become a habit for the cooks or not. I've had chefs that will completely rearrange the walk-in, right? Cooks are going to do what cooks do, and that's just do what they're familiar with. If you're not going to be on them, they're not going to listen to you. If you're not the chef, who's going to listen to me? I'm the lead, right? People listen to me out of respect, but you don't have to. I'll organize things, and then they're back to where they used to be. But, if I had like a chef support, like I said, I had a chef. He would change the walk-in. He'd change things around because he was always trying to figure out what's the most efficient way to do things. And it would kind of drive the cooks crazy. But you know what? He was on top of people. Hey, why are you doing that? That's not where it goes. Oh, okay, great. Even if the chef didn't see and someone saw, it's like, just tell the chef. And then he'll be like, hey, why are you doing it like that? Yeah, so just because I don't see it, it doesn't mean that gives you permission to be doing this. Just because I'm not there doesn't mean that you're just going to leave this like a fucking mess. Please clean up your station, take out the trash, take out recycling, or I'll find someone that can do that. I mean, my other chef wasn't like not fucking around, Again, what was his big negative is, he just gets overly stressed. He takes things overly personal. And I think that's where it comes from. I think like I'm on that path if I keep it up. So I'm trying to reframe things more how I word things when my team complains to me or tells me, hey, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. Well, how come they can't? I have to remember that as little authority as I have, my words carry weight. And even if you're just a line cook, your words carry some weight because there's people there to fuck with you for reals. So when you say, man, this is bullshit, you're almost giving someone else permission to be like, yeah, this is bullshit. So my attitude is just simply like, look, it's not my kitchen. The chef says there's no time. I'm not saying that he's right. I'm just saying that that's what he says. So we can either sit here and we can mope about it, we can be negative about it, or we can actually just like, you know what? Let's skip that step. Let's not ruin our day. Let's enjoy the company. Let's enjoy the next 8 hours we're going to spend together, and let's just do it together. And I'll help you. And if there's something you don't want to do, I'll do it. I see that your trash is dirty and you have orders coming in. You stay. You go ahead and prep on the line. I'll bring you all the things that you need. I'll help you flip the station. I'll take out your trash, do this. I'll sweep and mop. And then like in an hour, 45 minutes, everything's back to normal. I grab everyone's dirty towels because AM likes to leave the dirty towels there. I like to hand out clean towels to them. Like, I'm making the effort instead of the focus being on the negative. Let's just focus on the positive. Okay? This is our situation. Complaining about it isn't going to help. Complaining about it isn't doing me any favors. It's just stressing me out more. And my purpose being there is to help. My purpose being there is to build relationships. It's not to fucking cause more relationships. I've had a sous chef I had conflict with. I had a second sous chef that I gave a hard time with. And I had a third chef that I tried to be empathetic with, but eventually it drove me crazy. I've had 3 opportunities. I would say in each one, I did make strides. I think this one right now is like, I would say like a first major test for me. Like I've had these 3 other chefs and sous chefs that I was able to sort of like throw my little temper tantrum to say whatever, feel how I was going to feel. I got talked to by the exec chef. Hey, don't talk shit about chefs to other cooks because it gives people the wrong idea and looks like there's no unified team within managers. And it's all true. All these things add up to a cook's experience. And there's no way that enough negative shit happens that energy isn't going to go onto the food and it's not going to make it onto the pass. You're not going to tell me otherwise. Happy cooks make happy food, make good food that looks good, tastes good, feels good, and brings people coming back for the experience. It all is connected. It all fucking matters. So where I'm at now is next time I see my chef, feeling now that I'm kind of sort of like getting it all out. I'm sort of explaining it. I'm doing a little venting, but I'm also giving you what I would consider substantial information, some knowledge, just like, hey, you know what? I'm really trying to learn from this experience. In 4 weeks, it's crazy. I saw the problem, and instead of just dwelling on it, I'm really trying to be proactive with it. So I think that's my homework for March is, dude, just go in. Focus on the good. Like I said, the chef's a great guy. He's nice. He's kind. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the things that he can't do, I'll lift him. I won't worry about his strengths. Where areas of improvement that he needs support, I'll be that guy. He says that AM doesn't have time to clean. I'm not going to focus on the fact that no chef that I've talked to believes that. I'm not going to focus that every single PM cook. You see how I'm kind of doing this like backhanded compliment, but it's true. The reason I'm saying all this is because that's the point. Despite all the negative things, even if they have substance behind it, because there's emotion tied to it. It's obvious, right? There's emotion to it. There's ego tied to it. There's pride that's tied into it. There's my own feelings, my own goals. There's a lot of things tied into it. But the overall message I'm just trying to get out is that despite all those things, I'm maintaining my focus. I'm making every effort I can to stay focused and focus on the prize, which is on the short term is get service over with. On a long term, maintain respect of the cooks, maintain a certain standard that I know the exec chef and the owner want, even if I don't feel that my chef is hitting all those marks. He's hitting marks. Okay, he's hitting marks, but just because he's not hitting the cleaning mark, great. So why am I there? Would you just to fucking bitch and moan and tell him everything he's doing wrong? That's not okay, dude. Because then I'm a fucking problem. It's not okay, man. It's like I said in the beginning of this video, it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to vent. But if you're going to vent on something like this, like on a platform where people are going to watch, he might watch this. It's important to understand that, yes, my feelings are absolutely valid, but it's how I react to them. It's what I do with those feelings. That's where it fucking counts. And if I'm just going to go in there with a shit fucking attitude every fucking day, that's not fun. And who's going to want to work with me? I'm not going to bond with my cooks over shitting on other people. Someday I'm going to have to work with these people. Someday they're going to be working at night with me, or I'm going to be working in the morning. And then how's that going to go when I've just spent the last how many months or weeks just talking shit? It's not. I don't want that. And I wouldn't want someone to do that to my crew or me. So, despite all those things, my goal for March is just focus on what I can control and what I can't. And what I can't, just let go. And I got to remind myself, it's not my kitchen. There's a reason why he got elected to be the chef. Out of all the other restaurants, he's the one, okay? And just overall understand that he's not going to be the first. He's not the first. And he's not going to be the last chef that I have where I just feel like, I've had chefs where I'm like, dude, that's who you want to be like. That's the fucking goals. I've had chefs where it's like, that is everything you don't want to be. And then the rest just kind of are in between. It's like, yeah, strengths and weaknesses. And, I just happen, right now I kind of just feel like I'm over-exaggerating everything in my head. It's all in my head. Anyway, so I think my work is cut out for me for March. I'm just positive, go in, what I can control, put a fucking chokehold on it and make it my own, make it my responsibility, own it, take ownership for it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to support my chef in any way in whatever he needs. I'm going to keep supporting my team any way they need. I'm going to support AM in any way they need. I'm not here to make enemies. I'm here to help. I'm here to push this kitchen forward. I'm here to push the culture forward. I'm here to contribute. I love this shit way the fuck too much. I'm not going to be the guy that just comes in and shits on everyone and doesn't even offer anything. Anyway, yeah, that's what I got to say, man. That's been my February lead line update. It's been, like I said, man, it's like you think every month is going to be like, like right now, that's my biggest problem. Now I'm curious, man. Like, I'm going to tackle this. It's going to be great. And then March, I'm going to be like, oh, this is the hardest video to make yet because, but you know what? The way I see it, I think it's really good progress that I'm making. I think I'm making the proper growing pains, I'm making the gains that I want to make. I want to be a better leader. Great. You only get better. You get better through resistance. Okay? You don't get better when it's easy. You get better when things are hard. You become fast when time is of the essence. You become a really good leader at communicating when you don't allow yourself to let your emotions run wild and just say whatever the fuck you feel. So, it's a learning progress. We'll see where we're at, man. But I have every faith in the world that I'll get through this little road bump. It's just one challenge down a very big road. Again, I'm trying to be a chef, man. I haven't even made it to sous chef, so my road is still very much long, and I'm not gonna let this little road bump. One person who isn't even at fault here. Again, this is my perception of the situation. I'm reframing it, and that's something I can't control. That's February lead line update. Thanks for watching, and have a great service, guys.